Good morning. I'd love to answer any questions you have about Gov Cap or our legislative priorities now.
How have you established procedures and criteria to pass bills?
So before we came into conference, Safik and I read all of the bills. We went through and we picked the 43 that we thought were most impactful. At conference, we've added an additional one from the bill book, as well as 3 governor's cabinet bills. And
Do you have a required number of bills?
No, we pass whatever we get. So we try to represent or we consider whatever we get. So we try to represent the will of the people as accurately as possible. So unless something is blatantly unconstitutional and the Attorney General hasn't yet caught it, or the Attorney General might flag it for us before it gets to us, as well as if a bill is just, a flagrant violation of the ethics of our state, something like that, then we'll veto it. But in most scenarios, we have a healthy debate, we think about the repercussions, we might propose an amendment, but most of the time we try to pass because that's what the legislature wants. And then our own bills, we hope very much will pass the legislature because we think that they are very good and have the potential to make a big impact on the lives of daily Tennesseans and the future that we will all inhabit together.
And what would you consider the general theme of your administration to be?
I would say that the general theme of our administration is education. Not just education in the sense of like your formal academic education, but the education that occurs as a human being, as a citizen, as a member of our society. So in order to address that, we're really concerned with academic education. We're also concerned with healthcare, with voter enfranchisement, with all the things that allow somebody to live a meaningful, well-educated life. That said, we've been joking that one of our themes is construction. If you've noticed, I've ended both of my speeches so far with welcome to the construction of our future, because what we're doing now is very similar to construction in that we are actually building the world that we're going to live in, and we want to make sure that it's the very best built world possible.
Okay. Would you mind explaining your position on tuition equality and explaining how you expect to achieve that fiscally?
I am incredibly excited to have the opportunity to explain tuition equality because it's an issue about which I'm very passionate. So the majority of undocumented immigrants in the US actually do pay federal taxes. I'll give you an example. So let's say that Swarna here lends me $10, right? Swarna's going to come back for her $10 at some point because she wants the money, right? But let's say that I lend Swarna $10. Swarna's not going to come to me and be like, hey Simon, I have your $10 back. And, with quite the same zeal, right? Especially if Swarna is a little bit low on funds right now, right? And Swarna is the government in this scenario. So most undocumented immigrants, many of them, have some sort of footprint with the government that allows the federal government to tax them. In 2014, roughly 70% of undocumented immigrants paid federal income tax. But they can't go to the government and say, hey, where are my $10? I'm here to collect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. So they pay for it. In Tennessee, it's even more sensical because the majority of our government revenue is from sales tax, which everybody who buys anything in Tennessee pays, whether you're an undocumented immigrant, a legal resident, or not, right? And so the undocumented immigrants in Tennessee have already paid for in-state tuition. They already pay, the majority of them already pay federal taxes, which help fund our education system, and all of them pay sales tax, which funds our educational system. And so for us to come back at the end of the line and say, hey, you can't pay in-state tuition, seems completely illogical and even unfair to me. I don't think our government should be in the business of defrauding some of our most vulnerable citizens. We were all new Americans at some point, and that's sort of how we came to be who we are today. The estimated cost of the bill that we've endorsed is only $3.6 million because most people we won't have enough people taking advantage of this that it's going to destroy our budget or do anything crazy like that. It's something that we can afford, and not only is it something that we can afford, it's something that we should afford. We want people who have grown up in our state, who have come here as young children, to be able to say, at the end of the line, I have the same opportunities that my friends who are American citizens have, because that's what the US is about ultimately.
And now we would just like to give you a moment to elaborate on anything you'd like to in the ongoings of the Gov Cap and just the remainder of your time to send a message to your public.
Okay. I want everyone to know that Gov Cap is to serve them. That the probably the biggest insight I've received as governor so far is that it's not about me at all. It's entirely about the delegates. And I want everybody to know that they should feel free to come to see us, to come to talk to us, to share their concerns, to engage in constructive dialogue, to even argue with us. And that our goal in doing all of this is not only to pass the legislation that's best for the state of Tennessee, but also to foster a belief in the power of democracy and cooperation in our people. It's so easy in today's political climate to get frustrated, and we just want people to know that, you know, it's people like all of us that actually govern our state, and we want them to know that one day they can govern our state, and that our future doesn't have to be like our present, and that it can be better, and that it will be better.
Okay, thank you very much, Governor Simon Cooper, for your time.
Thank you so much for your time. Good interview.